One of the most useful tools available is what's called a spatial join, and it also happens to be my favorite tool in all of the tools that are available in ArcGIS. As we look at the map that's shown on the screen, you can see that we have Pennsylvania counties as well as all the karst features within Pennsylvania, depressions, sinkholes, caves, and so forth. And let's say that we wanted to have an idea of how many karst features were in each Pennsylvania county. Looking at this would be very difficult to ascertain because we would have to sit there and count all of these, zoom in really close, which could be very time consuming. But if we could aggregate the data such that it counts up how many of these points are in each county, that could be very helpful, and it can be really helpful to aid in visualization. Once we do that, we can make a graduated color map based on the number of karst features in each county. So the way that we do a spatial join is we come over to the polygon data that we want to join the points to, that we want it to add up the number of karst features in each county. We right click on that data layer and go to Joins and Relates and then Join. There are two types of joins. There are join attributes from a table, so you can bring in a table to join to an attribute table to give it more attributes, or we can join data from another layer based on spatial location, and that's what we're going to select. Then we've just answered the questions posed in numbers 1 through 3. So number 1 is asking us, what layer do we want to join to the layer that we just right-clicked on, the population, and that's the DCNR karst points. We want to summarize how many points fall inside of each county, so we select sum, and then we just rename our data appropriately. Like I would probably call this karst township, and then hit OK. I already ran this because this takes a while for the tool to run, but the result that you will get back after you run that is the data that looks exactly like the source, except the difference is if we open up the attribute table, we now have a new field in here called the count field, and that count field tells us how many karst points are in each county. So for instance, Adams County has 866 karst features, and some have significantly more. This is probably that center county. So you can see the distribution here. What is important about this then is the fact that we can make a graduated color map based on that field. So if we go to our layer properties, our symbology tab, and then select quantities, selecting count as the field that we're making the map of, and I'll just quickly add some commas here to make these a little bit more readable, and hit OK, we now have the data rendered in a little bit of a different way. It just shows us you know, which ones have the least and which ones have the most karst features. So the darkest ones, the Center County and Lancaster County, are the two counties with the most karst features, while the light blue ones are ones that most likely don't have any. So a great tool for aggregating data and summarizing data. And just let's do one more quick example. Here we have Lebanon County townships, and we also have Lebanon County bridges. Let's say that we want to know how many bridges are in each township. We can again do that spatial join. We would right click on the polygon data and go to Joins and Relates, Join. Make sure that we're doing it based on spatial location. We want to select the correct field, which is Lebanon bridges. We want to summarize how many bridges are in each township, and then we want to rename our data appropriately. Notice that it's always going to be called join output if we don't change it. And again, make sure that you're renaming your data something meaningful, that you're going to remember what it is, you know, months down the line. Join output isn't going to mean anything to you, but perhaps something like Lebanon bridges or something of that nature would resonate a little bit better. And again, I would hit OK. I already ran this just again because of the time it takes sometimes for these to run. And I get the new resulting data layer that has that count field appended to it. And there we are. And so again, we can make a graduated color map based on this to see which townships have more bridges. And we can see very clearly the 3 townships up here in the north are the ones with the most. And if we don't know our townships, we can label them so that we know which one is which. And there we have a new way of looking at the data that we previously had. So again, a spatial join is great for aggregating data within a specific polygon so that you can kind of count up how many of something is there to make a different type of visualization that might be a little easier to interpret for your map audience.